This is the Barbados Today morning news for Tuesday, November 19. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. Electricity has been restored to all customers following an island-wide blackout yesterday that lasted almost 17 hours in some areas. The Barbados Light and Power Company Limited posted the update to its Facebook page shortly before midnight. The power outage led to the early closure of schools and several businesses by midday. The company blamed the outage on contaminated fuel compounded by aging generator equipment, half of which is past its retirement age. Although restoration began just over an hour after the lights went out, up to 3 p.m. only 50% of service had been restored. Managing Director Roger Blackman told the media via conference call that the fault originated at a substation adjacent to the company's Spring Garden generation plant, and a team was able to isolate the issue. He also apologized to customers for the inconvenience. Students and teachers of Frederick Smith Secondary head back to school today with beefed-up security following the killing of 16-year-old Timario Holder by another student on the school compound earlier this month. Education Minister Santia Bradshaw says students from 2nd to 4th form will return today for counseling sessions. 1st and 5th formers who met with counselors yesterday and last Friday will return tomorrow.
The handheld searches will start. We've increased the security at the premises. The police as well would have committed to us that they will continue to do the walkthroughs both in the morning during the lunchtime period and in the afternoon as well. So we have their full cooperation in terms of being able to work with the team of persons that are at the plant.
Following the counseling sessions for students and teachers yesterday, Bradshaw told reporters several parents spoke about challenges they were having with their children.
Young people are finding it very difficult to know when to pull away, when to remove themselves from certain situations. There's also the issue of bullying that has been raised quite a bit. A lot of the parents who are here spoke to their students and their children being bullied. And not having the adequate redress being brought to the situation. So what happens is that a lot of students feel compelled to take some instrument to be able to walk with to protect themselves.
But parents at the school have mixed feelings about the Ministry of Education's plans to tighten security. Some told Barbados Today they believed it was time for the students to return to school, while others felt this week may be too soon. Others welcomed the presence of law enforcement officers, but some said there was no need for such a strict measure. Roberta Seeley is one of the parents. She has a daughter and a niece at the school, and she's worried that the security measures may not be implemented.
If they follow through, the thing is, if they follow through with putting in the plans of putting up the fencing, which is too low, and addressing with the cameras and stuff, if they follow through with that, well, somehow you'll feel more comfortable. But it's not over as yet, and it's still a lot that has to be done in terms of stricter measures as teachers and as head teachers to make sure the children understand if you are being sent home, it means home.
Meanwhile, the Vice President of the Barbados Union of Teachers, Rich McCabe, also attended the sessions. He said some teachers are willing to return to school, but others are not yet ready to go back, as they still have a lot of questions that they need answered.
They want the plan for the school, and that has not been told to them yet, definitively yet, because I told them here I'm not sure what the plan is. They're supposed to be meeting, and then they want to get back to the teachers with the plan. So the minister has said quite clearly that there's some people who might not be willing, and if you're not willing to go, we would advise our members, don't go. If you feel you need to go to the doctor, you go to the doctor. But it is quite clear from the teachers here today that they are not ready for that situation. I would say the majority of them not ready to go back as yet.
Cave also questioned the ministry's decision to hold counseling sessions for 2nd to 4th formers at the school, while 1st and 5th formers had their sessions at a different location. President of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Mary Redman, also had similar concerns.
how do you justify following a course of action that you said is the best course of action for 2-year groups, and then you deny 3 others? So our position is that the seconds to fourths should also have been counseled off-site to prepare them for reintegration back into the school. That is our position.
In other news this morning, President of the Democratic Labour Party, Verla de Pisa, has spoken out in defense of businesswoman Asha Merchandani, whose property was compulsory acquired by government. A statement from de Pisa chastised the ruling Barbados Labour Party government for its decision to take over Mrs. Ram's liquidation centre business on Bay Street after she failed to meet the deadline to hand over the property. Government acquired the land earlier this year to make way for the construction of the Hyatt Hotel. But de Pisa argued that Mrs. Ram had done much for Barbadians and she deserved to be treated better.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. Police in Dominica fired tear gas to disperse rowdy protesters who had gathered outside the residence of the President Charles Savren yesterday, demanding electoral reform ahead of the December 6 general election. The protesters broke down police barriers to the president's residence, and some, including at least one opposition legislator, Danny Luge, said they will not leave the area until they meet with Mr. Savren. Protesters descended on the area after attending a public meeting on the outskirts of the capital, Roseau, where they discussed the issue of electoral reform. Some protesters also lit fire in the streets of Roseau. Their protest came ahead of nomination day today. On the international scene, the United States has effectively backed Israel's rights to build Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank by abandoning its 4-decade-old position that they said were inconsistent with international law. The details in this Reuters report.
The Trump administration is reversing the Obama administration's approach towards Israeli settlements.
State Mike Pompeo on Monday announced the U.S. would no longer view Israeli civilian settlements in the occupied West Bank as illegal under international law. A dramatic shift, drawing the government of Donald Trump even closer to that of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and moving the U.S. further from the multinational stance that views the settlements as illegal and an obstacle to peace.
The establishment of Israeli civilian settlements in the West Bank is not, per se, inconsistent with international law.
400,000 Israelis now live in about 120 communities built in parts of the West Bank of the Jordan River, captured in a 1967 war.
It's our land. All the land of Israel is our land, and we're supposed to build here a new village and not the Arabs.
That land is also home to over 2.8 million Palestinians who see the West Bank as part of a future independent state.
That's news, but for the very latest, you can visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on iZumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good morning.